That's you, a marmot. Congratulations, you arrive as a hairless, vulnerable lump, newborn potato, or maybe a marmot. If you survive, you were born underground, in a hole dug by your anxious mother, who immediately started eating her own poop to recycle nutrients. That's the kind of family legacy you just inherited. Fun fact, your mother guards you like gold, even kicking other marmots out. But it doesn't stop you from dying predators, cold, starvation. Siblings? Try living in a hamster-sized mosh pit where everyone's fighting for oxygen and personal space. It's less family bonding, more softcore suffocation, assuming nobody rolls over and finishes the job. For the first few weeks, your entire world is darkness, kind of like my future. You can't see, you can't walk, you can't even scream yet, which, frankly, is a blessing. Because when you do learn to scream, oh boy, you never stop. See, marmots are nature's anxiety alarms. Your entire species survives by yelling at things. You spot an eagle? Scream. You hear a twig snap? Scream. You see your own reflection in a puddle? Double scream. You're basically a paranoid fur potato with lungs that never clock out. But let's rewind a bit. Why do you even exist? Millions of years ago, your ancestors were sleek, tree-climbing rodents. But somewhere along the evolutionary line, one of them said, what if instead of living in trees and being fast and cool, we lived underground, got fat, and froze half the year? And evolution said, sure, let's ruin everything. Now you're stuck with a lifestyle so boring it makes watching paint dry look like a rave. Your hobbies? Eating grass, digging dirt, patiently waiting for death. The only upside is that you get to choose how it comes: predator, avalanche, or the crushing weight of your own fat during hibernation. Speaking of hibernation, that's your main skill. The thing that sounds magical until you realize it's just long-term starvation in a hole. You eat for a few months, and then you pass out for 8. Not sleeping lightly, not napping. Full-on biological shutdown. You're basically a furry coma patient in a dirt freezer. You dig deep into your burrow, block the entrance with dirt, and settle in for the next 8 months. Your heart rate drops from 200 beats per minute to something like 30. Your body temperature plummets, close to freezing. You stop eating, drinking, pooping. Basically, you stop being a functioning organism. You become a fluffy vegetable with a heartbeat. Humans call this efficient adaptation. You call it a medically concerning nap that lasts most of the year. And sure, hibernation saves you from freezing to death on the surface. But it's not exactly peaceful. You're constantly on the edge of dying. Your heart beats so slowly that missing 1 or 2 could mean permanent nap. Sometimes your body temperature dips too low, and you have to shiver yourself back from the brink of death. Other times, you wake up halfway through winter, realize it's still snowing, and think, oh God, not this again. You're playing Russian roulette with insulation materials made of grass and poop. And the worst part? Parasites. While you're half dead, little freeloaders like fleas and mites have their own party in your fur. They feed, multiply, and have a better winter than you do. You're literally the Airbnb of the parasite world. And guess what? You don't even hibernate alone. Marmots live in family burrows, where everyone piles on top of each other for warmth. So it's you, your siblings, your parents, and occasionally your weird uncle, all stacked together in a dirt coffin like a rodent lasagna. 40 days later, in spring season, you emerge from the doomed cave, blinking in the cruel daylight. Nature's first greeting? A hovering eagle, eyeing you like popcorn chicken at the movies. You look around and realize you're surrounded by other marmots doing the same thing, yawning, stretching, and immediately screaming. Ah yes, the annual marmot reunion. Time to eat grass, get fat, and pretend the hawk circling above isn't planning to make you lunch. Your first few days outside are pure chaos. Your body temperature? Out of control. Marmots overheat, freeze, shiver, and faint almost daily. Nature's energy-saving setting, inconveniently fragile. Your teeth only recently showed up. Sucking down dandelions and grass is a struggle. Dinner is usually just whatever your paws can grab before a predator shows up. You have no idea what's going on, and everything wants to kill you. Eagles, foxes, wolves, weasels, and sometimes even hikers with selfie sticks. And because you're a marmot, your main defense strategy is to scream and hope something else gets eaten first. Now, about your voice. Scientists say marmots have complex alarm calls that can convey different types of danger. Some species have over 10 distinct vocalizations. You're basically fluent in panic. But honestly, every marmot scream sounds the same, pure, unfiltered panic. You don't even need to know what's happening. If one marmot screams, everyone screams. Congratulations, you live in a furry anxiety cult, and your society is basically a neighborhood watch run by nervous extroverts. But here's the twist. Sometimes you lie. Yep, some marmots have been observed giving false alarm calls to clear feeding areas of competitors. You scream eagle, and everyone runs, leaving you with all the grass. Congratulations, you've invented manipulation. Somewhere, a human CEO just nodded approvingly. But sometimes, screaming gets worse. Your screams don't just warn your friends. They also tell predators, hey, dinner's panicking over here. Great job, evolution. You're basically a walking megaphone for your own demise. Let's talk about your diet. You're a herbivore, which is a nice way of saying you eat sadness. Grass, flowers, roots. The blandest menu in the animal kingdom. Occasionally, you find a dandelion and act like it's a Michelin star meal. And you have to eat a lot. Why? Because every summer you have to bulk up enough fat to survive the 8-month death nap. You're like a competitive eater, except the prize is not dying. You'll spend your days waddling around like a chunky Roomba, hoovering up vegetation, dodging predators. Playtime is rough, wrestling, butt nibbling, and king of the hill, where losers get buried alive under chub. And when you're not eating, you're digging. Marmots are excellent burrowers. You can move several tons of soil in a single summer, which is impressive until you realize you're doing all that work just to live in a hole. Congratulations, you're the world's most overqualified construction worker. But you're not doing this alone. Marmots live in colonies with social structures, families, hierarchies, drama. You got alpha males, rebellious teens, nosy ants, and that one overprotective mother who screams at clouds. It's basically a rodent soap opera. Every day, you climb up on a rock and take turns being the lookout. One marmot stands guard while the others graze. Sounds noble, right? Until you realize standing guard means anxiety watching the horizon and shrieking every time a leaf moves. And when danger does appear, say, an eagle, everyone vanishes underground in seconds. You're safe for now, but your heart rate's at 300 and you've burned more calories screaming than eating. Congratulations, you've survived another day of mountain hell. You've survived childhood. Barely. You've screamed at enough clouds, dodged enough hawks, and eaten enough grass to call yourself a functioning marmot. Now you're entering adolescence, the part of life where hormones kick in and all logic dies. You wake up one morning and suddenly the world smells different. Your fur's greasier, your voice cracks when you squeak, and you start noticing other marmots in ways that would make your biology teacher blush. Welcome to marmot puberty. It's confusing, itchy, and loud. The problem? Marmot mating season is basically a short, chaotic soap opera that happens right after hibernation. Everyone wakes up starving, cranky, and desperate. The perfect recipe for romance. Male marmots waste no time. The moment snow melts, they start running around, marking territory with their scent glands and challenging each other in dramatic screaming contests. It's less fight to the death and more fur-covered toddlers having a meltdown. The goal: impress females with how loud and obnoxious you can be. Females observe the chaos from their burrows, unimpressed. They prefer males who defend their territories well and scream efficiently. Because if there's one thing marmots love, it's a loud, responsible man who knows when to panic. Congratulations, evolution. You've invented the alpine frat boy. Females, meanwhile, are having none of it. They just survived 8 months of starvation, and now they've got to deal with screaming suitors and territorial brawls outside their burrow. Most of them mate with just one male, usually the one who screams the least and doesn't immediately start biting. Harmless. When mating finally happens, it's quick, awkward, and deeply unromantic. There are no candlelit dinners, no rose petals, just two exhausted rodents who both regret it immediately afterward. Then it's over. The male vanishes like a ghosted Tinder date, and the female's left pregnant and annoyed. After that, it's all about survival again. The male's job is mostly over, except for defending the territory and occasionally scaring off other males. Meanwhile, the female starts eating like a black hole. She's got to build enough energy to grow her litter while still dodging eagles and nosy researchers with GoPros. And when she finally gives birth, it's right back where you started, in a cold dirt burrow surrounded by squeaky blind sausages that will one day replace her. The cycle continues. And yet, despite the odds, despite predators, freezing winters, and human bulldozers, marmots have been doing this for millions of years. You're like evolution's middle manager. Not impressive, not useless, just stubbornly consistent. But don't relax just yet. Because your real enemy isn't the eagle, the fox, or even the cold. It's the calendar. Every year, climate change pushes your timing off just a little bit. Snow melts earlier. Plants bloom sooner. Your internal clock doesn't. So by the time you wake from hibernation, the best food's already gone. You're hungry, confused, and surrounded by melting snowdrifts that used to be home. Your metabolism freaks out. You burn energy too fast. You lose weight before you can even start bulking. And if you don't hit your critical fat percentage before the next winter, well, let's just say the mountain gets one more silent tenant. Oh, and predators adapt faster than you. Foxes start hunting earlier in the season. Eagles nest lower. Humans build higher. It's like every force of nature got the same memo. Let's make marmots extinct for fun. But you keep going. Because that's what marmots do. By the time you hit age 4 or 5, you're officially old in marmot terms. Your fur's patchy, your reflexes are slower, and you've been chased by the same eagle so many times it's starting to feel personal. You no longer run at full speed. You jog like someone pretending to be late to work, but secretly doesn't care anymore. You've got scars, literal ones from predator attacks, and emotional ones from watching your kids get snatched by hawks. You've seen generations come and go. You've buried friends, mates, and that one idiot cousin who tried to hibernate under a boulder. Most marmots don't see old age. If you do, congrats. You're battle-scarred, missing some toes, and have lived through stampedes, bird attacks, and maybe a viral plague. Your social status depends on how many fights you've lost. If you're still strong enough to hold a territory, you get some respect. If not, you're politely exiled to the edge of the colony, where you spend your golden years screaming at clouds and pretending you meant to live alone. You start to realize something. Your entire existence has been about running away from predators, from hunger, from time. You spent every season either eating or hiding. You've never actually lived, you've just delayed dying. Being a marmot is just surviving long enough to make more anxious marmots. There's no glory, no adventure, no retirement plan. Your greatest achievement is existing slightly longer than your neighbors. Eventually, the day comes when your body says, "Nah, I'm done." You go through the motions, eat grass, dig a burrow, prepare for hibernation, but something feels off. The cold bites harder this year. The snow comes early. You're not as fat as you should be. You crawl into your burrow one last time, curling up in the same spot you've used for years. The air is still. The dirt smells familiar. You can feel your heart slowing, your breath fading. The world above you keeps moving. The snow falls, the wind howls, predators hunt. But you don't hear it anymore. There's no grand farewell, no noble last stand, no dramatic orchestral music. Just silence.